Welcome to the most forward-thinking, inspirational podcast on the planet. Prepare to reevaluate everything you've been taught.
They have the power. We have the numbers now. It's all just a constant illusion of control. They break us like horses.
And they can tell us we're crazy. And we can say, well, you haven't seen anything yet.
Everything you knew was a goddamn lie. Would you up and explode like it's the 4th of July? Possessed by perfection in this land, if you're awake, you're the enemy. Every day a new deception. Pick your scene and take direction. And on a search to connect. But I don't wear a mask and I have no regret. Down on your knees, you don't look so tall. Open your eyes and the empire falls.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Fun little episode today. It's going to be a short one. I've said that in the past, and it ends up not being short, but this time I think we're going to go ahead and keep it short. There has been, and I've talked about this again, obviously I keep talking about the same things. It seems like, but I don't. There are obviously different variations of all the same bullshit. So here we are. In the midst of a absolutely wonderful Christmas festive season. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. Merry Christmas to some of you, and everything that's absolutely sensitive and or unoffensive to that one guy that's listening because he hates me and wants me canceled. Maybe more than one. But you, buddy, hey, I hope you're having a good whatever the hell it is you have. So I'm wishing good on you. Social media all over the place has really been a bit of a bitch to us lately, but it's a push. Probably a push that we needed a while ago, but never really saw it. I'm seeing a lot of shit take place kind of everywhere. And as you guys, you avid listeners, you amazing, amazing people know, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy for anyone that's got an opinion or for anyone that thinks outside of what we're told we need to think. It hasn't been easy. And with regards to Facebook, our Facebook account is basically, there is no The Mental Mastery Alliance Facebook account because I don't really care for the platform. There's a me account. You can find me, facebook.com/Coach ARW. I'm on there. I am saying stuff and doing stuff. I don't really pay attention to friend follows or, if you're going to do anything, just follow me because my stuff's wide open. But like friend requests, I'm really terrible at that. And literally every single person that sends me a friend request these days, for whatever reason, is some, I don't know if you guys are getting the same thing, but it's just some whore. Like it's a fake account. We're offering sex. I get probably 3 of those a day. I don't, maybe I'm the stupidest guy in the world. Maybe they're all offering me sex. I don't want it. And I don't think it's true, but it's possible. So I could be the dumbest guy. Like I said, I've just been turning down so many offers that didn't seem quite right. But, here we are. So friend requests, I don't really accept, but follows, sure. Again, like I said, it's wide open. Do what you want on that one. It's me just busting balls. And I know that all of us listening to this are listening from a different position, a different station, a different area in the world. There's different shit going on literally everywhere. Florida, for example, you guys are listening to us in Florida. Amazing. Amazing that you're still listening to us because as far as I understand it, your world is wide open. It's carte blanche. You know, you had a couple of weeks of bullshit. And if anyone's listening, feel free to text in or send us a message on Instagram or whatever. And let us know. But I'm pretty sure that you guys have had it pretty easy. And I could be wrong. And I'm not trying to, shortchange anyone if they have had it rough. But that's just the story, and we all hear these stories. And there's so many things where back in the day, it used to be like, I have to have proof of this, that, and the other thing. But nowadays, proof just it's poofta. It goes, it comes and goes, and now it's just court of appeals or court of public opinion. Sorry. All agitated, fired up. It's funny. It's funny that this is where we are. It's funny that this is where we've come to. Where have you come to? We've come to here. The podcast has always been animated. We've had some great conversations. We've cycled everything from basically, if you've been listening to us for a long time, you've probably heard our beginning episodes where we were just getting used to the gear and teaching, making it a teachable moment that not everybody starts off perfect. We started with our cell phone, recording into our cell phone. Then we started with other technologies that were available. And we landed on what works. And we're really happy with it. The idea of a podcast, get it going, get it started. You've got a message, you've got to be heard. And this is the best way to do it. Your audience will grow if you're consistent, because you wouldn't believe how many people want to hear what you have to say. And it's not like your friends, man. You can't be a preacher in your own backyard. I've got so many. It seems to me like every time I open my mouth around my family, they tell me to shut the F up. And you know what? Fine. You aren't my audience. That's all right. I know the same thing. Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is this, he's a really big guy. Makes you walk on coals. You all probably heard of him. This guy back in his heyday was everywhere. Back before we were all awake. Walk with giants, this guy. Him and the Oprah Winfrey. Now we know that Oprah has a proclivity for eating. Never mind. But maybe Tony Robbins does as well. The narrative shifts, the narrative changes. But just picture yourself for a quick second back completely asleep. Tony Robbins would charge an absolute arm and a leg, a fortune to work with him. And Tony Robbins would also go home to where he grew up, and everyone would tell him to shut the hell up. These people paying an arm and a leg to listen to Tony Robbins speak because he's done and he's achieved. But Tony Robbins' oldest and dearest friends are annoyed with his whimsy. That's the same thing with you guys. Anyone that wants to start talking about something but hasn't started talking about something, get into it. We're coming into the new year. It is time for you to start speaking your message. If you want any help with that, shoot us a message, info@the Mental Mastery Alliance. We'll give you a quick rundown. We have a full course program too, where we will build the whole thing out for you, teach you how it works, and tell you exactly what you need to do. We'll work with you hand in hand. We'll upload for you. We'll show you the edits. We'll do absolutely everything for you. If you want to go that route, that's a possibility. I personally suggest that you guys, learn it, study it, master it, and do it on your own, because there's so many people out there, charlatans out there everywhere charging for something. And yes, charge for the initial knowledge, sure, but to be consistent with it, don't worry about a production, a pro this, a pro that. 90% of podcasts don't even last. So you're in good company. As long as you're consistently on the air, people are going to be listening. Now, back to our problem, which I'm sure you guys are all following a little bit of. Facebook has been, it's ridiculous. So I don't even pay much attention to Facebook. I mean, I post whatever the hell makes me laugh. There's no blowback for me on Facebook, because the algorithms of Facebook literally echo chamber everybody. If you're pro this, you're in one group. If you're anti this, you're in another group. Occasionally they'll spice it up by mixing you guys all together. But you've got to admit that you've noticed, if you're trying to post or talk about anything on Facebook, that people aren't attacking you. Remember back in the day, you would post something and then just some random that you've never even seen before is like all over your shit, like trying to destroy you. Like, what the hell? Calm down there, Karen, Susan, Steven. It's a weird thing, but that doesn't happen. Maybe it's just me, but it doesn't happen to me anymore. Nobody really comes after me on the Facebook. And my engagement went from a lot to 20 people. So I'm just doing it for fun. The podcast is where you get the most truest version of me, of my thoughts, of basically the essence and the idea of what we're promoting and what we're pushing, which is the number one message of the Mental Mastery Alliance is to clear yourself of anxiety and depression, to clear yourself of a belief and ability or a desire to think that you can't do something, or to be downtrodden, or to beat yourself up, or just to have any of that sense of anything. That whole conglomerate of ideas, messages, that whole thing, that be depressed, you're not good enough, anxiety, depression, all of it is a trick. It's handed to you as a trick. And we work on clearing that. We work on getting rid of that through pointing out the things that are tricking you. And this is where we do a very similar, albeit very much less aggressive approach on the Instagram. Our Instagram account is pretty good. We're certainly not as big as some of the other guys because we certainly do push a bit of a different narrative, or we were a little bit harsher before. And we also dicked against the algorithm just a little bit before. But now, out of the blue, I think I've talked about this before, Instagram like flat out shut us down. They didn't kick us off, which would have been easier. They basically just shot us full of holes and left us in the middle of the street. Thanks, Instagram. And the idea behind this is social media wants to shadow ban you. They want you to censor you so that your audience comes to you and still sees your message, and they make you think that you're watering yourself down. That didn't happen with us. They silenced us and we came back guns blasting. It's not like we were fighting anything. It's just that in that scene in The Matrix, the first one where Neo comes out and he gets shot full of holes, and then he hits the wall. It's similar to what happened with us. We got shot full of holes. We went from, engagement like 4,000 people watching a video, commenting, liking, that sort of thing, down to 36. 36 people was the follow-up right after the shadow ban. So I said, we've been shadow banned before, but never quite like this. But also, we were consistently posting certainly motivational stuff. Maybe a little bit too wishy-washy for the changing narrative, and maybe we weren't keeping up with our own process in the time. And I think that's probably what it is. So just like Neo gets shot up and then eventually stands up and says, this is, my true form. I think that's what was happening with us, and probably with a lot of other people too, that they just got complacent with the status quo and maybe they didn't push enough. And I was also of the opinion, I don't want to lose what we've built here because we are reaching people. I get a ton of messages in my inbox of people saying, thank you for your consistency. Thank you for putting up what you put up. And it's almost like you're inside my head a lot of the times. And I also feel, I love those messages. I absolutely love those messages. But I also feel that there's a huge portion of us that isn't represented on social media. And it's not the either extreme right or the extreme left of the scenario. It's the in-between thinking people, right? Because you're going to see a lot of people out there that like hate non-vaxxers or anti-vaxxers or whatever you want to call them, right? Because they're programmed to hate. And then you're going to see a lot of like people that don't want to get vaccinated hate the vaccinated because they're programmed to hate too. That ain't us. We don't hate on nobody, right? And if you come at us with hate, you're probably going to get made fun of, either by us or by other people in the comments. But what we do represent is a desire to think freely, also while using humor, but certainly to go against everything that they tell us is wrong. I mean, if social media can tell me I'm wrong, but then not back it up with anything, like how? How can you just all of a sudden be the authority? What are fact checkers? Didn't Zuckerberg just admit that fact checkers are just opinions? I mean, I get in trouble because I'm using a platform.
We are attacking.
That jumped up really quick. So I wanted to jump into this. Nice little segue. I'm getting in trouble on social media, but here is the Prime Minister of Canada. He didn't join the show, but this is a clip. I'll play it for you.
Regardless of the fact that we are attacking your fundamental rights or limiting your fundamental rights, and the Charter says that's wrong, we're still going to go ahead and do with it. Regardless of the fact that...
You guys catch that? Regardless of the fact that we're going against your rights, and we're going to do it anyway. So it brings me full circle to this. If you guys haven't been following the Instagram account, definitely jump over there. You're going to have some fun with it, because it is now a place where we are heard. We're definitely going to keep doing the funny memes, the free thought memes, the inspirational, motivational, positive stuff, because that is shortly lacking in this world. But we're also going to question the stupidity. You know, prime example, we're going to put ourselves out there to the point where they're probably going to shut us down. Every single one of my other free thinking accounts got shut down. And the reason I think that we might be, not my account, sorry, my friends. I've lost probably 20 friends to this new thing. Accounts are just gone. And for me, I want to say that it's not going to happen to us. I want to say that, but it might. And I think that the difference between what we're doing and what they've all done is they came at it aggressively. And I don't want to be aggressive in any way, shape, or form. I just want to be heard. I just think that there's some common sense stuff that people aren't pointing out. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to point out a little bit of common sense stuff. We're going to make our own memes. Oh boy, we're a meme factory. We have some amazing co-collaborators with us as well, co-creators. There are people out there that are on our team and on our side, and that are our friends, that are going to be really spotlighted in a lot of things that we're doing as well moving forward. People that can't lose their platforms, but have something to say. Their message is going to get out through us. So we're going to do, it's going to change a little bit. I'm not going to say we're doing a massive overhaul, because we really aren't. We're just going to bleed into a system that's been taking from us, consistently taking from us. We're going to play their game. Well, kind of. But there it is. The podcast won't change. The podcast will still be as forward thinking as it can be, without trying to be something that is not. I don't want to be the guy that is all of a sudden changed into some political thing, because we're not political. We're not going to be political. Politics is division. We're not division. We're not divisive. We're free thought. You want to, if the algorithm wants to group us in with division because we're free thought, it's probably going to happen. Every single resistance factor in any movie that you've ever watched in the 90s, they were the bad guy. But if you watch them again now, you rewatch the same movies, they're the good guy. They're all the good guy against the tyrannical government. Right? I'm not saying rise up, but maybe I just did. What I am saying is pay attention. Pay attention to the scenario, pay attention to the scenery, pay attention to what's around you, and understand your mark. Understand where you can go, what you can do, and how you can contribute without being overt. Because again, everything that's on the news is bullshit. All of the people that are protesting this, that, and the other thing, for the most part, if they're showing it to you, it's bullshit. That's not to say that people aren't properly protesting and doing things, but every single, organization that's properly handling something isn't getting any media attention. There we go again, getting excited. Getting ahead of myself. Stumbling over my own tongue. If you're doing it legitimately, you're not getting televised. If you're part of the manipulation, you're completely being televised. There was a guy in Toronto that rose up against the steakhouses, or he was Adam's Barbecue or whatever. And this guy was all over the news. And what he was supposed to be appearing as a hero that's just going to defy the law and stay open. But then what we saw further down the line was they beat him up, they took his thing, they threw him in jail, they shut his business down, they ruined him. So what he actually represented, and this was, in my opinion, intentional, it was the opportunity to rise against and stand against your government. They showed you one window of a guy who was completely an actor standing against the powers that be, and then getting completely shut down. So that what people are witnessing is saying, well, if I do stand up, they're going to put me down quickly. The truth of the matter is they can't do that. We've got the BC premier, whatever. I don't even know what her name is. I just see this blonde all over TikTok and all over this, that, and the other thing, talking about, it literally said this, and I'm surprised I don't have the clip pulled up, but it doesn't really matter. You'll find it. You'll see it. And she says, all New Year's parties are officially canceled. Oh, they're all done. But the bars are staying at full capacity. So you can't have a gathering inside your house, but you can go to the bar. And this is logical, right? Logic is nuts. We're going down a rabbit hole that is so far out of anything that could ever have been anything that we could have imagined. And I said for the longest time, as much as I wanted to be a part of an awakening, a mentality movement, I never wanted to be on the aggressive side of this. I never wanted to instill a riot or any of that shit because I'm not into violence, right? They want violence. I want awareness. That's the huge difference. And when you see this stuff, this us versus them mentality that they're creating, when we can really change and adapt and understand and comprehend who the we are, the we are, that changes everything, because the we are men, women, all different races, all different creeds, all different everything. That is the we, the downtrodden, the beaten, the ones who are aware. And it's the them, the us versus them, the we versus they, right? This mentality, the they is anyone that absolutely needs the system to be what it is. So you could be attacked by your own family, but that's okay. Because that's just going to show you that, there are areas that you can go. It's like road blocking. If somebody is stopping you or preventing you from doing something, you don't have to go head on through them. You have to accept them for how they want to feel. And for you to grow as an individual, or for you to find more peace of mind in what you're doing, you find somebody else who's of the same validity and the same frequency, and you get to pick their brains. So the world is actually showing you and guiding you who and where you can go and what you can see and who you can talk to. It's also saying, don't waste your time with these people. And that's a hard one to swallow. People are like, don't waste my time with family. Do your best to help your family, obviously, but don't fight with your family. Let them have their opinions. And if they want to fight you, don't engage, is all I'm really saying there. Because we're not trying to prove anything. We're not trying to rile anything up. The best way to show somebody something, or the best way to get your point across, is consistency and example. And that's really what we want to do with the Instagram as well, moving forward. So if you guys are, if you've been following the Instagram, or if you don't follow the Instagram because it's not quite as aggressive as this podcast, it's about to change. And by all means, jump in, connect with us, comment on the posts, because we're going to be very hands-on moving forward. We're going to lose a lot of fans. We're going to lose a lot of not fans, but followers. And they're the wishy-washy followers. That's one of the biggest things. Like we've lost the most. I posted that for the first time, the motivational account, I posted that the real pandemic is how stupid everyone is. And it got the most engagement in 24 hours. The most both ways, which is funny. And what I mean by that is on a full shadow ban, we got well over 1,000 interactions, which is good for us. And on top of that, we got well over 300 people that unfollowed us in 24 hours. Like, oh no, see you later. But that's the thing, as much as we love everybody that's just happily trying to bury their head in the sand, we invite you to stick around. And you are the people, if you are burying your head in the sand, well, if you are, you're not listening to this show, so I don't need to talk to you. But for you guys listening, the hate that's going to come at us, and it's going to come, because the harder you push against the system, the harder it pushes back. There's going to be a lot of hate coming our way, and there's not going to be any hate going our way to theirs. So we're just going to absorb. We're going to absorb and create, and hopefully through conversations and through the comments, people are going to be able to see something that they hadn't seen before. I'm not necessarily talking about you guys. Like I said, you guys are, as far as I know, if you're listening to this show and you have been for this long, you guys are like literally the salt of the earth. You guys are the most amazing group of people, and our listener base is growing. I really like that. If you guys want to help us grow, go throw a thing on iTunes, a 5-star review or a review, or just throw some likes up there, that sort of thing. That shit really does help with the algorithm. It's not even something that we ever really ask for, but if you've got an Apple account, and they love the iTunes, they love iTunes. So just throw a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, just give us a couple stars. If you like this shit. If you don't, if you think I'm an asshole, don't give me any stars or whatever, do whatever you got to do. But the bottom line is, we're rolling into a world that is aggressive towards anyone that's thinking freely, anyone that's aware of it. And at this moment in time, not many of us really know where to go. Unless you want to follow that Chris Sky dude, whom I really don't particularly trust. I don't like that. Why does this guy have a platform? Why is he always on TV? Why are we seeing him everywhere? What's he, I get that he's got this message to share, and he does help wake people up. And he must help because he keeps going, but I'm suspicious of it, and anyone could say that, oh, well, you've got a ton of downloads, you're constantly have a platform. We have a reason to be suspicious of you as well. And that's true. I've also been accused of being part of the PSYOP, but I'll tell you this, my patterns and mentality will never waver. It is only ever going to progress further into where we need to be. And if you want to call me a PSYOP, do me a favor and do it in one of the comments or one of the one of the reviews on the old iTunes there. But man, for now, it's fucked. We're in a really strange spot in humanity. But we are this week rolling into Christmas. It's going to be a really good Christmas. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'd like to say that. And I do say that. I do say that, if you're in the right frame of mind, you're going to have a good time in any scenario, in any situation. This shit is bonkers. Where we are right now is bonkers, but we all know that. So it's up to us to literally handle how we're going to perceive what we're going to perceive. We're going to mull it around in our own head and do what we got to do with it. The new Matrix movie came out. By the way, we were talking about the Matrix. I watched it already. I love the irony of the Matrix because to get into the theater, you have to be vaccinated. So essentially you have to take the blue pill to go see the Matrix. But there's a million people out there that got vaccinated, and there's some of you listening right now that are vaccinated that really, really resent that you're vaccinated. And you were forced into it because you have a family. And I fully respect that. Understand that from our community to yours, you are a soldier. You took one for the team. You took one for your kids. You made damn sure that your responsibilities were met, even in the face of adversity. And you get a pat on the back, and we're really proud of you. That is a fact. Now, back to the Matrix. It also got released on the box if you guys have IPTVs or whatever. So it's in full 4K already on the box, like day 1 or 2. So I decided to watch it on the box. And as a kid who watched it at the first one, I think I watched, I was 17, 18. I don't know. It blew my mind. This one wasn't mind bending, but there are so many things that just quietly go amiss in there. There is a ton of truth. There is a ton of truth. They use the main. I'm not going to give anything away, but you're going to watch this and you're going to be, so many fourth walls are broken down. They're talking directly to you, and it's phenomenal. So if you haven't seen it and you don't have any major plans for Christmas, get out there and see it, or get yourself an IPTV or what have you and watch it at home. It is amazing. There's a lot of truth in there. As for everything else, we are going to come back. I want to do at least one more show before year's end. I'm hoping to have my good friend Sam Crowley on the show from the Everyday Saturday podcast. When he first met me, he thought I was a tinfoil hat lunatic, and he is now on our side. It's really good to see how some people can really open that third eye real quick, and not by listening to Third Eye Blind. Also, if you go back through the history of music, you're going to see some pretty crazy things that talk about this moment in time right now. So we are living through something that is, even as a quote unquote conspiracy theorist, you couldn't even predict it. Like, we can throw all of our situations and assumptions aside and just literally watch this beautiful chaos unfold. I did say it was going to be a short episode, and again, I was wrong. I had a lot to talk about. We're rolling into the 27th minute here. But man, thank you guys for another amazing year. This is a huge coup to all of you. We've grown so nicely over the year. I want to get better. I want to podcast more. I want to put more episodes out. And I think too, with the silencing on social media, that I'm going to focus a lot of my energy on this. And it's not going to be like all kinds of crazy talking about just simply the narrative, because that's really drab and really annoying as well. It's certainly going to be an eye-opening, pushing, interview-based year coming up. We're going to have some solid guests on here. Some really good stuff. I know too that the Becoming the Free podcast that you guys loved from before, it was me and my friend Tony who was on last episode. We're coming back in the new year. They shut us down once. We're coming back as the BTF podcast. There will be links. You will be able to see us. There is other side projects on the go. It is the Broken Strangers podcast. That's coming up as well. There is a Broken Strangers Instagram. Also, I don't have the exact link for that, and I'm not even going to share it just yet. But it's around. It's around. If you aren't following us on Instagram, it is instagram.com/The Mental Mastery Alliance. It's going to get weird over there, and I welcome every last one of your opinions on every last one of our posts. We want to talk. We want to engage. We want to meet you. And yeah, man, again, what a crazy way to wrap up this year. It's awesome. And I don't mean wrap up for us because we're not done yet. We're coming back. We've got Christmas coming up, and then we got that week between Christmas and New Year's, which is basically no man's land, and nobody even knows where their pants are half the time. But that's where we are. That's what we're heading into. The Christmas New Year's abyss. Hold on to your pants tight, ladies and gentlemen. And in the infamous words of Red Green, keep your stick on the ice.
Thank you for listening to today's Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Let the team know you're listening by using the hashtag MMA and Mental Mastery Alliance. Want more motivation? Be sure to follow online on Instagram at Mental Mastery Alliance and on Facebook at Mental Mastery Alliance. And remember, your perception creates your reality. Make it a great day.
You got it, Pontiac.